Y'all been sold a relationship, not by Diddy, because he never really spoke. But Cassie sold it to everybody that he was the greatest man ever. And all Carisha said was, nigga spoiled me, so what's good? The conversation should not be about Carisha. The conversation should be about how these women like to stay in these positions. They don't know no motherfucking better. How did we deflect to Carisha?
That video that came out, and it's like I feel like a lot of people are wondering, was that your experience? And I know personally that you've been through domestic violence before, and I don't think that's something that I know that's something that you've grown from and that you don't tolerate. I've been through domestic violence in 2 relationships, and I told myself after the second relationship, I would never put myself in that situation again, especially now being a mom. I'm a mom. I was a mother then, but I have a daughter. Like, I would never put myself in that position. I don't stand for domestic violence. I'm just not going for that. So do you feel like when they and Diddy, like, was it a business relationship? Do you feel like it was beneficial for you? I feel like it was beneficial for both of us. I think that, like, I was able to come and be a brand ambassador for Deleon and take it to a whole nother level, because I feel like, I won't say nobody wasn't drinking Deleon, but I wasn't drinking Deleon.
Let's do something. Who sold you that Diddy was a good guy? Was it Cassie or was it Carisha? Who sold you Diddy? Who sold you Diddy? Did Carisha come out and say, oh, he's a great guy, he's a great father, he's amazing? No, now nobody's so. Oh my god. You know what? I'm gonna take us down a rabbit hole because I have time. Let's play about how Cassie spoke about Diddy. Let's talk about it. I want you to hear this. How the whore spoke about him. She said, "Oh, bitch, we was business partners. I was getting that bag. I was getting that money." And Cassie, "Oh my god, I love him. I love him. He's so cute. That's my puppy chulo."
When I came, it was just like, it's a city where summer we drink Deleon, we acting bad, so I felt like I was an asset. I honestly just feel like with Diddy, like, I met him at a pink party, and I don't know what his intentions was, but I don't know if it was like business or if he really liked me, but I felt like, when he got me, he already saw something in me, and that's why he was like, you know what, you got a big personality, like, you should do a podcast. Like, you know how to engage in conversations, like you know how to ask good questions. So I felt like, I came into his world and I was able to like turn everything he had going on up a notch. Like, he had Deleon, I was able to have the whole world drinking Deleon.
I want to say shout out to the black woman getting Cassie $30 million. Because once again, her lawsuit would have never happened if she didn't see him with another black girl spoiling her. Look how inspirational you are. Look how inspirational you are. Guess what? When he was sleeping with Gina, nobody gave a fuck. When he was sleeping with all the other non-black girls, he wasn't giving a fuck. But in her trial, based upon her words, her ending situation with him was specifically revolving around the energy that he had at Kim Porter's funeral. Sorry, y'all. My nigga here. He's in the room. You gonna have to step out.
able to come and make it a number one podcast on remote. Yeah. So I felt like, you know, and then with him, it was like he was able to, you know, take my career to the next level. I did the baby. I got ready to go. Like I wasn't going to the relationship thinking like I want to get a purse. I want to go on private checks. I want to get diamonds. Like I want to get diamonds. Like I'm gonna.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So let's get into Casi Bandora and how she spoke about this. Because, you know, there's an obvious disconnect here. Okay? Cassie Diddy Met Gala. Just me and you. No.
separated, and it was never gonna really work out. What are your top three
flashed in Miami is hilarious.
So last night he was honestly nothing. Hear that music? Hear that noise? Take this one over. Take it over. Let's see if you can attack. Set it up. Picture of perfect matches. Set it up for you. So Charlie Mack is this player. But he didn't destroy the video.
He got it, but nobody knew it wasn't destroyed till years later. He was paid to destroy the video. That's obstruction. That's bribery.
It's only bribery. This is how the defense. This is how the defense testified. He said that it is only bribery if it is if you're bribing a police officer or officer of the law, or you're bribing a witness who reported crime. The crime was never reported, so it was not a bribery. That's how they did it. That's why it was happening.
My wife is not my family. She's got, her family. She can always leave it. She's gonna have family support and all this back and forth. But the kids, I would save on.
He's gonna see whether or not Sister Mercedes is actually willing to keep my commandments or not. If Sister Mercedes is going
I just find it weird that, Carisha is supposed to speak up for her. You're expecting her to stand up, you know what it is? Maybe it's in a community, the way Black women take care of men, and then people just automatically believe, she's going to stand up for every victim. But I'm so glad that Carisha is choosing herself, because that's going to get her paid. That muling for any other community doesn't work out for anybody. You don't get paid. You don't get nothing. It's It's free labor. So shout out to the Queen Supreme for getting on that damn mic. Period. Period. Unpaid labor. And I'm never gonna be mad at Carisha for playing the villain in the story, especially if she's getting paid. How about this? If y'all want Carisha to be pro whatever victim, how about all the victims go stream her music? Okay, go stream her music and give her that money back in blood. Okay, to speak. Until then, nobody gives a fuck. Go stream that motherfucking music. You want her to speak on an experience that she didn't have. And they was mad at her. Came out and told the motherfucker. They were mad at her before she came out and even told the motherfucking story. On the dead homegirls. They saw Carisha happy and they were triggered. That's why I said it's okay.
It's my girl Carisha.
Especially when you're choosing yourself, especially when it comes down to money. They do it to every black girl not in that situation.
You don't have to hold the public office, right? It doesn't require that anybody who's bribed holds a public office. That's not true. I can bribe my neighbor, actually. My neighbor saw me stole something, and I'm like, girl, when you have this money, you tell them you didn't see me steal. Tampering with the witness is bribery. I gave her money.
But I think the word that you skipped over was official.
I didn't skip it.
The crime wasn't official, but the act wasn't official because the crime was never reported.
That's not an official. What do you mean? That's not what official act means, though. My testimony is me committing an official act. That's an official act.
The security guard wasn't a witness because the crime was never reported.
I can witness.
So they didn't bribe a witness.
He's the witness. He saw it.
He obstructed it. He obstructed anything from even becoming a criminal case for $100,000.
So you remember when Jay-Z and Solange got into the altercation on the elevator, right? Y'all remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So you remember how the reason why it got leaked, I guess they didn't pay the security people to not leak it. I use that as an example because I don't think that it was gonna be reported as a crime more than it was being paid off to not be given to tabloids. So
That wasn't a crime, though.
but that listen, it was domestic violence. They fought each other, and that was domestic violence. Solange hit him, though. Why? Telling you what's going on.
Hold on. She never hit you in the video. What are we talking about?
So Solange didn't attack Jay-Z in the elevator. What is the analogy? How is the analogy at bad?
We talking about now. Y'all talking about something else.
Yeah, I'm using it.
I agree with Brooklyn. Solange.
How we got to Solange?
That's what I'm saying. You said Solange as if you was listening. You know, I never.
No, I wasn't. That's why I looked it up.
No, so let me wait.
I'm trying to tell you why it's not relevant because there was never any charge that came where that video
Exactly.
is critical. So
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. It's not relevant.
And Brooklyn is saying there was no charge when it
But
came
there
to
was.
that.
That's why we got the videos. What's going on?
Oh, you're saying this eventual charge.
No, it was never domestic violence was never charged. We got the video because when it was, would have been the charge. If he was charged with anything, it would have been domestic violence according to the video. That was the crime that was committed on tape was domestic violence. It was never charged. He was never charged for that.
Domestic violence. He dragged her back to the room. He was also restraining her against her will. It wasn't solely
What video did you watch?
So I
He didn't drag her back to the room.
Her incident becomes actionable when Cassie filed a civil lawsuit in 2023. The video surfaced in 2024, and the witnesses like Garcia testifying will be in 2025 federal trial, tying the payment to an obstruction charge. So they're
Yeah, that's what I was trying to. Yeah. So that. Yeah. So with Dr. Yeah. So Dr. G was saying like the charge. I get the disconnect. Brooklyn was saying there was no charge at that time, right? That years ago, there was no charge that was brought up. Dr. AG is saying the reason why bribery is in play with regard to that tape is that these charges were brought up. The charges of this particular case, and that's what makes it actionable. And Patty read that. And they said now, and this is because how it might have been handled differently today. Now, hotels have stricter internal policies to report suspected domestic violence or assaults. If the same event occurred in 2024, 2025 at a modern hotel, corporate legal teams will report the video to avoid liability.
Don't forget that the hotel also got sued and she won that lawsuit.
The employee who received the $100,000 bribe could be charged for obstruction. Yeah. Oh yeah, Young Miami, she's ready. She gonna be yeah, she's ready. So she's gonna be the one on Denny's arm. I'm crying. Well, you know. Why y'all she tried to distance herself during the trial. She tried to distance herself whenever they were questioning. She was down in back. So I was reading her tweets. Because Ion has a room about her. That's how people are like, what's going on? So I was reading her tweets. Yep. So she that's why I asked Mel, what does 1111 mean? Because she's being cryptic with it, but yesterday at 11:11, she wrote God please and put a heart beside it. And Mel told us that 11:11 is when they met. And then 2 hours ago, when he got, when the verdict came through, she put 11:11 and she put 4 hearts.
So, she's happy. And then I started looking at her previous tweets, and somebody clearly was talking to her. You know what I mean? Like she was posting, just sexy pictures, and she wrote "God is the greatest." When was this? 3 days ago. People telling her, and then her pinned tweet is driver dot 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 take me to Chanel, and that refers to when Diddy took her shopping at Chanel. That's the pinned tweet, and that's from April. Stuff like that. She just she ready.
Yeah, but April, that was right after he didn't go to jail, but he didn't get arrested until September. It was back, I think it was in late March and April is when they started raiding the homes for that bullshit. He didn't go to jail in September.
Wait, you're talking about 24? No, this was April. No, this was April 25. She's just reminiscing. Her pinned tweet is from April 13th, 2025. But she wrote
whenever they would question her in public.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why her tweets are cryptic. She has not said much of anything except recently. So literally, I think it's like three. Let me see. I just read. I think three days ago, she wrote "God is the greatest," cryptic tweet. Then 2 days ago, she wrote 11/11. That's why I was asking Mel, what does 11/11 mean? That's her and Diddy. That's her saying, "God, please," right? That's. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 day ago. So that's yesterday, And then 2 hours ago, when the verdict came through, she wrote 11/11 and 4 hearts. So I'm saying she's ready to come out now. She's not gonna be distancing herself anymore. But little does she know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he could change young Miami. So, she was in that love bombing phase. I don't think that she experienced a freak off. So maybe if they don't, I don't know. I don't know how they gonna do that. I mean, I care, but I don't care. But
Maybe she's trying to get back in his graces. I have no idea, but I know she unfollowed him on Instagram. After all the stuff coming out, I remember when they were making a big deal about her unfollowing him. I remember a little comment she would make when they would ask her about Diddy, like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Like, even on her Carisha Please, she had said on Carisha Please, like, I can't speak on none of that. I need to take a break from it, and she was talking about, I'm just focused on me and my career. So I do remember that. So.
And that makes sense. And you know what? The other part was probably like, I mean, he's a liar, so I'm sure he lied to her too.
Yeah, I think she probably was like, he's free now. Now I still love him.
Yo, there's this gay guy in front of the court, and he got his shirt off, and he's rubbing baby oil all over his chest. I don't know. Look at the link. Tell me if it is him.
Yeah, I will tell you. Wait 1 second, because I
just put it in the chat.
That is something Denai would do. Let me look.
Yes, I will not be surprised.
Can you go?
They haven't bailed him yet. The judge hasn't came back into the courtroom.
They better not rush that judge. He got some thinking to do.
No, that's not Denai. That's so ignorant. See, but this is what I'm saying. I mean, oh my God.
It's a cold world, guys. It's a cold world. It's 2025. It's cold out here. It's sick people. There's cold people. Come on.
Y'all stupid as hell. I seen that video, yo. This nigga's like, I'm sliding, yo. I'm sliding with a bottle.
Yeah, I know. The report is saying there is baby oil present, she said.
Oh, God. And that nigga got a whole purple suit on.
When I went into Plan B,
was going on over there, Plan B?
Well, Successful was gloating, of course, and Erie was gloating.
How are they gloating if they all these people claim that he was gonna be found not guilty of all charges?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You know, they'll end it in a heartbeat. But somebody, I was trying to read the chat, but one guy was just like, I mean, y'all sick as hell if you was rooting for this black man to go to jail for the rest of his life on these RICO charges. That's some sick shit. Like y'all, there's something seriously wrong with y'all. And he was like somebody, you know, he got 6 kids. And I'm just thinking about myself, like, yeah, I mean, what about our kids?
He has 6 adults. He has 6 adults. Let's be clear. He has 1 little child. 6 adults. They're adults.
Stop getting freaky with baby on you. What did he do?
The same way Cassie was an adult, guess what? Those 18 and 19-year-old daughters he has, they're adults too.
Was there a dead body in the Rico's case? Anybody?
What happened?
Was there a dead body or, you know, blood?
Did you come over here to troll? Because you can't be trolling with a pink ticket. I just knocked the last one out with a pink ticket.
I'm just asking a question, ma'am. Was there a dead body in the case? Yes or no?
Dead body.
Answering the question.
No dead body,
What
right?
is the purpose of you asking the question if you know the answer?
If y'all
What is the
want to
purpose, sir?
wait, hold on, ma'am. I'm finna tell you. If y'all want to be mad because he's a freaky ass nigga with a lot of money that can make people do what he want them to do, that's one thing. But to say that he's a monster and doing all this extra,
I blame the women that stood by, the women that stood by Megan. I blame you guys for the way the men are acting right now. Because that's the reason the men are doing what they're doing.
it was just a video. I mean, Kendrick Lamar's wife was coming out the hotel with her nose bloody. Nobody said Kendrick Lamar was a monster. Nobody.
I didn't know that. I guess he's a monster. I didn't know that, but I'm letting you know right now he's a monster too.
You know why you didn't know that? Because you probably don't like Drake. You probably was rooting for Kendrick Lamar and you don't care to know that.
That's
No. If it does not hit social media, we don't know. Mother freaker, you crazy?
No, I'm saying, are you a Kendrick Lamar fan or a Drake fan?
Listen, I ain't nobody's fan. I'm a fan of myself.
Realist.
The fuck?
Listen, realist. The one thing this is not Plan B, and this is not one of those rooms. So if you gonna ask a question, be silent and get the fucking answer, okay? Because you're not gonna be talking over everybody, and we're not gonna talk over you. But you're not gonna bully people, okay? So
if I can speak, can I let you know when I'm finished so y'all won't talk over me?
Like, we were giving you the opportunity to speak, so go ahead and speak.
You sure? Okay. Just let me know when it's my turn and we can do it.
But are you sure we can
I'm not here rooting for Diddy, just to let y'all know.
It's your turn to twirl. Get on the stage and twirl.
I'm not a Diddy fan. He should go to jail. Let's be clear. Let's get that out the way first, so y'all can get y'all panties out the bunch. You understand what I'm saying? So
I ain't got no panties on. Let's go on.
That's very common too. So what I'm here to say is though, what you have to understand is that yes, he beat her. He should go to jail for that alone. That's what I think. You understand what I'm saying? But you also have to look at if he was beating her so bad, why did you keep going back for so long? You understand what I'm saying? So that really helped him. Now, I'm not saying that he should be a free man. No, he done a lot of shit he should be gone for. But to say that the man was just Al Capone or Johnny Rico balls is just ridiculous. Like, that's just sad. There's no gunshots. There's nobody. Well, Sean went to jail like 20 years ago for him. That's dead. But in this Rico, there's no dead bodies. There's no crime victim families in the courthouse. There's none of that. Just a bunch of freaky ass prostitutes and girls on the stand that got paid $30 million plus. Some still getting paid rent and shit. It's just a money grab. That's all it was. Honestly, if you want to be real about the situation.
All right. So let's pause for a minute. So being real, Why are you under the impression that a murder has to occur in order for a RICO charge to stand?
Because now this is something different, so don't jump off me. But if you know what the RICO is about, the RICO is for crime bosses. Let me say that again. Crime bosses. That's what the RICO case was made for. Is he a crime boss? I'm talking to the whole room. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So you think he's a crime boss? Oh yeah. So I have no conversation. We have no conversation.
Thank you, Goddess, for answering that. That means we don't have to hear him. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's fine, really. So for the rest of the room, what makes Diddy a crime boss is he's the boss of Bad Boy Entertainment, and he had his employees, including his executive assistant, his other assistants like Brendan Paul, his bodyguards, his social media manager slash assistant Mia. He had all of these people. One with drug possession for him and Cassie and whoever else, the guys that were hired. He had his employees engaged in criminal behavior, all for his satisfaction, and they had to cover up for the reputation of Diddy to remain pristine. So that's why he's a crime boss, because he was engaged in crime and had his employees doing those criminal activities. That's why. Of course he left. Of course he did. So they'll get it eventually. I mean, just because like Dr. AG said, like just because somebody's not found guilty doesn't mean that they did it. But this is what I think is interesting is that
OJ was found not guilty.
Okay. Okay. And the thing is that like he said out of his own mouth, he did contradict himself, but he said out of his own mouth, Diddy did a whole lot of shit, right? But you're mad about the RICO charge. And it's true. I mean, I get it that like RICO came out, relative to the mafia, but these people, they just, I'm like, look, I learned a lot about RICO here too. But if witness tampering, bribery, sex trafficking, arson, if all of that shit falls under RICO, Diddy is guilty of that shit. I mean, he wasn't found guilty. I get it, but like he did all of that. And I didn't even think that. I mean, when somebody said that, like the arson was dropped, I was surprised by that. I mean, it wasn't, by the way, but I was surprised by that because the license plate, of the car that's really over to burglarize Kid Cudi's home was connected to Bad Boy Entertainment. Capricorn, his employee, was forced to go over to Kid Cudi's house, even though she didn't want to, for Bad Boy Entertainment. Like, to me, this is obvious. This is obvious RICO activities, unless there's some other activities that is there? I'm assuming that there are other activities. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know the different crimes, but I'm learning. But are there other crimes that involve your employees that are not RICO? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. If there are, he probably did that too. It's just like just.
They talking about us.
Who?
Talking about motherfuckers making bad things and politically.
Who's making bets?
So it's crazy because Lewis was in my back channel. I was like, he's in my back channel. So I was like, what's going on? So I was like, let me go to the room. I went to the room and Gemini.
Oh, they fucking with Gemini. They bothering Gemini.
Then on top of that, they brought up Ghostface.
Oh my god.
They brought up what?
Trump and Kamala.
And they're associated now.
You know, TC being a dick.
They're associated on the whole thug bully too. They're associated with that shit. Wait, there's thug bully is in there too? Child, I'm not going back in that damn room.
Never. I've been obsessed on this app.
That means they tag teaming on Gemini.
I messaged Jack.
Now Gemini to save himself. Run,
Tell Gemini to tell them to come over here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the two people that Gemini bet, it wasn't in our room, it was in the wood room, right?
Right.
He made those.
They were done in our room.
No, it was in the wood room. It was a guy and a young lady on that side.
But they saying that probably because Gemini be over here all the time. And
Correct.
on it over here. So they like, yeah, you team politically correct, y'all be making bad men. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
He said the men is politically correct don't want to pay up and they make bad.
Why would anyone, first of all, why would anyone bet on a 90, don't they have like a 98% conviction rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet it. That because
No, but technically Gemini won the bet.
Wait, too.
yeah, he did. He did win the bet. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But why would anyone bet against a 98%?
So it's like, why you fucking with him? Just give it. They need to pay him his $100 for two people.
But when you're talking about emotions, right? It would be emotional to bet against, the numbers don't lie, right? Betting against someone that has a 98% conviction rate is wild to me.
Wait, I want to ask
on a
you
trial.
because
I would never bet on the verdict in a trial though, because that shit can go 50-50. Like, that ain't even, like, I wouldn't even bet on that. Because, hell no, I don't bet those.
They said at least the 420 too. They said at least the 420. They said.
Yeah, at least only $5. What's up?
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Juicy, I wanted to, because Juicy is in all these rooms. Juicy, I wanted to ask, what's your assessment of the verdict and what are you hearing in all of these terrible rooms that we find ourselves in?
Hello, good afternoon, ladies. These rooms are chaotic, to say the least. I am tired. I'm already tired, okay? The day before, not even 2 days ago, there was an IGB room trying to hold Black women accountable for the charges allegedly being dropped. Like, make it make sense. I didn't know that we were committing the crimes. We were just talking about it, right? Yesterday was a lot of back and forth with people trying to predict what the outcome will be, because the judge said, allegedly, the judge said, listen, you gotta say for all or for none. People thought that he was gonna have a not guilty on everything, right? Because the judge said, listen, you have to deliberate on everything, not just one particular thing. Like, there was a lot of hang-ups on the RICO case, from as far as what I heard. And lastly, people now are just thinking that he's gonna go home scot-free, even though he is guilty on 2 counts. So, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, there's like 20 rooms open.
Yes, yeah.
And I chose to be with God.
Against women, violence against Black women and Indigenous women, it's crazy in this country. It's insane the amount of violence that goes on. And so when they're happy about, it just, you can't get through that kind of mindset. You can't. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but when the dudes do it, I'm like, yeah, they dudes. But when the women do it, I'm like,
Exactly, man. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think,
The thing now,
everybody-
what time is he going to do? He did get convicted on 2 counts of
What?
Yeah, so it could be a minimum of 4 to a maximum of 20.
And it can get you know how it goes, how much he'll actually end up.
And then trumpet could come in the middle of his sentence.
Oh, yes, of course.
That was the other thing. Now, your friend, your homeboy, Anthony, the man said that Trump was going to make sure that Diddy was free. I'm like, Trump, what? Since when Trump niggas go? Except for that one nigga, maybe two. But so sorry, my tone. Anyway, since when does he just let people scot free unless they pay him or do something very, very nice for him, or they're very good friends? Like, he's not touching this, because again, that will go back to the Elon Musk and that damn Epstein list. He would be a fool to touch this mess.
Well, Donald Trump is a fool, and he probably would touch this mess because that's who he is. So it's not that much of a stretch of an imagination that he would try to like say, "Oh yeah, that's my boy." You know, I've known him for years. You know, I probably was. You know, he probably was in. You know, one of his freak-a-deek nights. Some of the quiet ones that not many people know about.
So I just Googled what he said. So it says the May 30th White House press briefing, Trump was asked about pardoning Diddy. He said, nobody asked, but I know some people are thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking, and I'm looking at the facts. He noted that they were friends. He used to really like me a lot and emphasized he would focus on whether Diddy was mistreated.
Yeah, I actually think that Trump would pardon Diddy because he is duplicitous like that. And just 2 days ago, he was at a press conference talking about how deporting people who are illegal has been one thing, but he has shifted and said, you know, there's also a lot of people who have been here for a very long time, who were born here, born in this country. They've been here for a very long time, and they've been committing a lot of crimes. You know, what they've been doing, we think we should get rid of them as well. So we're going to have that. That'll be the next conversation.
Where's the maggots, doctor?
I think that he would.
Gemini.
Exactly. So I've been telling, you know, these black men in particular, like, I don't understand why you don't think you're the next target. But they don't think that they're the next target. But to me, that's perfect, because, like, this is what the MAGAs, all you got to do is every time any crime comes up, they always say, you know, these are the usual people. They say it all the time, like tweet after tweet after tweet, post after post, you know. And then of course, you know, I mean, you know, we are out here acting up, so I mean, it is pretty funny. But like the mob robberies, you know what I mean, stuff like that. They're, you know, they're coming. They're coming. So I think they're doing it for that reason.
They got alligator Alcatraz ready for them.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
What
that
the hell
was.
don't y'all realize? And I was just seeing the thing on TikTok this morning, and it didn't hit my mind till then, and I'm sorry it didn't. But they were showing pictures of how the KKK and other white nationalist racist groups had always used the trope of black people and alligators.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dear God in heaven, here we go. And he was talking about too. Trump was talking about these people being used to help farmers, and the farmers were going to be put in charge of them. And I'm like, be responsible for them. And I'm like, wait a damn minute, here we go. We all said this was going to happen. We tried to tell people this was going to happen, and it's happening. And where are they? I want their asses in here front and center.
Yeah,
I think you know what I'm saying.
so here's the blackmail MAGA logic. Y'all ready for this? So these people say, oh, somebody who crossed the border, whether, you know, the government knows it or not, they're illegal and they should be, you know, detained, deported, sent to alligator detention halls and things like that. Shit like that, right? But the Diddy didn't really do it, and if he did do it, he did it at the behest of the ladies that he was with, the ones who had less power than him, right? So he shouldn't go to jail. Yeah, I mean, this is the magic, the MAGA male logic at its best. This is what I've been hearing in these rooms. I'm just confused.
Yeah, this is right up Trump's alley because he likes to pardon sex crimes because he is a sex criminal and it's also celebrity and he likes proximity to celebrity, so he's likely to pardon for that reason. Those two reasons alone, I believe he will pardon, and then he will ask black people for credit.
Totally agree. Totally.
And then dumbass black MAGA men will come in here and count that as a win for black people.
Yeah.
That is so sad.
Roz, did Mel tell you we heard you going off on the MAGA men yesterday?
Yeah, she did. I lost it. I was so proud. I was like, yes, Roz, yes. Yeah, I lost my shit. I went from 7 to 10 in like 2 seconds.
Because these people will take you there. These people will take you there.
I couldn't stay in that house.
Can you let us know when you're about to crash out, Rosin, so we can stream it here, please?
I will.
You said you have to restream it. Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I would have paid money for that.
Yeah, you guys weren't here.
What did Rosin say?
My sister told me that they talked about me for an hour after I left.
Oh my God.
All right, so Rosa, I'm gonna buy you. What do you want, a condenser or do you want a broadcast microphone?
That's what
Your
I
epic
need.
crash outs. All right, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, Big Mike on the
You guys, Cappuccino was recently in a meeting with Ibrahim Traore and Diddy. You know, that's wonderful.
We need to get all the ladies a Big Mac, okay, in this room so that we can.
I don't need no Big Mac because I already.
Patty, your voice is the Big Mac.
I don't think I need a Big Mac either because I'm from
Dr. Goddess, you got a good mic. Whatever mic you got is good.
I just have a regular. My thing is just a regular iPhone. So
I need to get with you about the settings.
yelling.
I need to get with you about the settings on the iPhone.
Oh, you know what? Let me see.
There's only one setting. It's just volume. The volume knob. I didn't know when you turn the volume knob, your mic is louder. I'm like, oh, I thought I was trying to hear y'all better when I'm walking outside. I didn't know my volume would go up too on the mic, but that's apparently what it does. Who knew?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Me neither.
You gotta arm yourself with the Lord and a Big Mic on Clubhouse, okay? Get one of those.
Yes.
No, I don't need people to hear what I be saying. I'm good.
I'm like, Lord, wait just a minute. Don't listen, turn away.
That
I'm not that person because I'm about to dust.
All Patty needs is a New York accent.
No. And I have a real life, so if I get a big mic, I might really get fired. Like, I can't get fired, but I might end up in prison fucking around.
Okay.
So, but I don't think the Diddy thing is exclusive to MAGA men, obviously. And we spoke about it in here, and I'm like, I don't think it's necessarily a win because, like I was saying the other day, I was like, I think prostitution will one day be legalized, right? And when it does, I think, that's all they got him for. Then I think that's a bad look because to spend all this money to prosecute someone for prostitution,
Right.
when it's legal in at least one state, and it might be legalized one day, maybe 10 years from now, I think it is a waste of resources, right? I think arguably the arson wasn't a good charge, right? They have a fingerprint of someone else. They I don't know if he paid to cover it up or whatever, but they never ran the fingerprint. Like they never even said who the fingerprint was.
Oh yeah, they did run it, and they just didn't say who it was. Remember they said it was a
woman,
female.
right? Yeah.
It was a female. So it may be
So,
someone that is testifying.
Oh, so they have immunity? Like it could be Capricorn clock, but they never could say.
Right. So they said it was a
what you're
female.
saying?
They knew it was. Yeah, they said it was linked back to the female. They never revealed who the female was. They just said it was not a male.
Yeah.
And
So I mean,
and then the
yeah.
car leaving, leaving Kid Cudi's house was a Bad Boy Entertainment vehicle. So that's why I didn't think that I didn't think that was going to be a charge that wasn't going to stick.
Yeah, but even I don't think whatchamacallit was a good witness, Kid Cudi, when it came to that part. When it came to breaking and entering, yeah. And so,
But truthfully, you can tell what you know. I mean, that's the only thing. It's like, even if you are a victim of something, or a possible victim of something, doesn't mean you know everything that went on and the full aspects of how you became that victim. Like, so that's the only problem. I mean, unless you have a crystal ball that shows you step by step what the person did, even as a victim, you're at the behest of your knowledge and how they ask the questions. And that's what you got.
Yeah, but I'm curious to know what else were those tapes, because what I thought this case played out differently from what I thought. I thought this was going to be what was on those tapes, and he was extorting people from those videos that he had.
That's what I thought
was going to happen. I had no idea these freak-offs were going on. So me personally, I just felt like I don't know if this is necessarily the direction that they wanted the case to go, but I think maybe this is what they had because the case was rushed. And for him to only get prostitution, like I said, I think I don't know if this is necessarily a win in the books for the federal prosecutors. I mean, numbers wise,
this is a gigantic L. No, this is a gigantic L for them.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly what was first charged or what was proposed, because a lot of stuff gets, it gets taken out. Judges are like, well, this evidence can't be used, and if that particular evidence can't be used, then guess what? These charges won't work for the case. Because to be honest, we know for a fact that he was using sex tapes to coerce people into signing contracts. Like, that's like a completely known thing in the industry for 30 years.
Okay.
That's who this guy is. Right, it wasn't shown in the case. Right. So all the
charge has to be a 10-year period.
Right.
Right. Sure.
So the point is,
he didn't get those sex tapes because that wasn't like
he made them. Because remember they took the cameras out of his home. They took out tapes. You realize that wasn't even brought into the case.
That's where I'm confused. He can make sex tapes.
Well, okay, yes, he can make sex tapes, but it wasn't the fact that he made sex tapes. It's the fact that who's on it and how they were using the sex tapes.
Okay,
right.
So how they were using it.
Yeah, they were using it for contracts.
From my understanding, didn't they know when they were going to these parties what was...
I don't think they knew they were going to be recorded.
Okay.
Having sex acts. Yeah.
I'm still not sure about these parties. Like I mean, like, so just even like on the internet and stuff like that. Throughout this entire time, I have not heard people say like, yeah, I was young, I went to a Diddy party, I ended up naked, I wasn't with groups of people. I have not seen that. I thought that was going to come out in these trials, but I just haven't seen any of it. And like I said, boy, I don't know if you were in here at Juicy. Amber Rose, I know that she's not the only person, but I'm just saying, she said that she was invited to, and she went to most of Diddy's parties, and she said that her and Ray J were talking like, did we miss something? Like, were these some parties that we weren't invited to? Because she said that like, none of that ever happened at any of the Diddy parties that she went to. Like, not
the way that Amber Rose.
I mean, I'm just saying, she said, she looked, Look what Dave Chappelle said. He said he realized that he wasn't invited because he was ugly.
That was funny.
I'm just saying, he was like, I said, damn, that's when I knew it was real. He was like, I realized I was ugly. I was crying, laughing. But no, people were like, Diddy, why weren't you at the parties? You ain't go to the parties, you know what I mean? And he was like, I didn't go to the parties. And he was like, thinking about it, and he said he realized that he wasn't invited because he's ugly.
You know, the other thing is, it's like, not only, I know Ray J might have said no, but there's so many people who said yes. And then at the same time, there are people who were like, yo, I know what was happening and I broke out before it happened. And like, when you got people like Lord Jamal from Brand New Being, who knows Diddy really well, remember, these are people who came up under the same era, under the same music labels or MCA, and they're like, yo, this is the type of shit that was just going on. We knew these dudes. We knew what they were doing. We just never ever, put ourselves into that situation because, like, hell to the no. So, and then it's confirmed by other friends of theirs are like, yeah, that shit went down. I mean, the Meek Mill situation, did Meek Mill's gonna understand? Everybody swore to God that he was getting tagged up by Combs.
Yeah, but that,
so it's
what does that do to Zeta?
I don't know.
I blame Jaguar Wright. I blame Jaguar Wright.
No, get her out of here.
Jaguar wrong.
Yeah, just get her out of
The
here.
way she told us about Diddy was not even nothing how we thought this would play out. I blame her.
Right. And here's the thing though with Meek Mill Royal, the gays put us on because that tape that people kept playing, it was like, that's Meek Mill and Diddy. The gays told us that was gay porn. That was just, you know what I mean? That wasn't real. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's like a lot of made up stuff out here.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So this is deep. And then also with the prosecution, like, no offense, but like, did they have anybody black working with their asses? Cause I'm just like, how y'all gonna skip over, like, you skipping over a lot. And how is I'm not understanding why KK, other than the schedule, why wouldn't you bring KK in there? I don't understand that part. She was mentioned over and over and over and over. I mean, give them immunity.
So there's an actual trial that happens before the trial. So what we see is like very small, but there's actually like a whole argument of what piece of evidence are able to come in and stuff. Because we mentioned yesterday about the unmarked guns, or whatever, the guns with the serial numbers scratched off. None of that stuff came in, right? That surely would have helped show the criminal enterprise, because how do you, enforce these things, and how are people scared of you and stuff like that? You have an arsenal in each one of your homes, right? With no serial numbers, like people, you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't part of the case. So there's just so much that just really wasn't part of the case. And I think when I look back at it now, like, it's really surprising that I don't really think that this is how they intended things to go. And so yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking. Like, did they have anybody black helping with the case, right? Because Diddy is known for being like a low down person, but I don't recall anybody talking about what he did with guns other than the Shine situation, which is outside of the statute of the RICO. Like, he's not known for rolling up on people with guns. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I would be like, don't waste your time on that.
Yeah, but
unless you have information, unless there's something concrete, then I wouldn't pursue that. But there's other things I felt like they didn't pursue. And I'm just like, y'all, what's going on? Like, this is not, like many of you all have said, this is not what I thought the prosecution was going to be.
Right. I mean,
is this led by Tony Busby type thing? You know what I mean? Like, Tony Busby is the one that opened up the hotline. So
Yeah, that was a hot mess. That was a complete hot mess. I still think that the fact that they did find the illegal guns in his possession or in his homes, and knowing that he did dealers in guns, even if we don't hear stories about it. I mean, even in this case, a story was told about guns. So, I mean, I didn't think that before in the past. I'm like, I never known homes to be messing with guns. But when they bring it up and then they talk about the stuff found in this house, and then you think back at that nightclub shooting, it's like, oh, damn, they might be onto something here that I didn't even put together. And so the fact that it was all taken out of the case, question marks, rings a lot of bells. Like, oh, I get it. The prosecution was basically hamstrung, which I get. That's what the defense is supposed to do. They're supposed to make sure that everything doesn't get in. And so their case was weak because they didn't get everything they needed to get in to build the case correctly.
And then the other thing is, I'm really tired of these men, especially on the app, saying it's like they understand that what Diddy did to Cassie was domestic violence, but they can't get their head around how his violence could lead to forced labor or even like sex trafficking. That's what bothers me. Like, for them, violence is only the domestic violence category. It's not under coercion for them. It's not under, I'm talking about the toxic men on the app, and the toxic women, quite frankly. It's not under forced labor. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I mean, I'm new to this too, but I can see it.
I'm not a psychologist, but I will say this. I know I'm not supposed to do that, right? Comfortability in something is always apparent. You look at the video; he was very comfortable in his violence in that case, right? In that issue. Of course, not the first time we know him to be dealing with violence. Of course, we know about the situation with the brother from Universal, the manager for Nas. We know about him and Shaka Khan's son and that whole Shaka Khan situation that happened. And I spoke to Indira, which is Shaka Khan's daughter. I know her pretty well, and she broke the whole thing down to me on how it happened out in Cali. And it was like, oh, it was all about this whole Whitney Houston situation. And I thought it was just some Jaguar right bullshit. No, she confirmed it, and I need to bring on his app so she'll break the whole thing down to y'all of how that went down. So basically, he's known to be violent. That's not a surprise. He's very comfortable in his violence. You can see it in that video that he's comfortable in his violence. So anybody was to say, oh, this was like something that he doesn't really do, and nah, bro, you can't be that comfortable in your violence unless you've done it before and gotten away with it before. And of course, we know this because he paid the hotel off to get rid of the evidence. This is who he is. Are we gonna ignore that part?
Yeah, it's deep. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Brian. Sue's on the phone.
Hello.
She gets off.
Hello. Hey, I just had a question, and maybe we can talk before. You know how everybody was talking about before? Oh, this prosecution team or whatever district, I don't know what it is, has a 98% conviction rate. So is the 98% based on the counts, or is it just like overall they're found guilty of one count and that counts as their conviction rate?
Overall.
So then the 98% thing is kind of bullshit then.
Yeah, because
people were talking about, but they were talking about that as if like, oh, they're never gonna fail, but then you're looking at it like, all right, there's some failure here. So they still count at a 98%. Okay, because people were going on for that for
Yeah, and people don't count it, like, when you plead guilty, that's a conviction. So the 98% doesn't mean that they went in court 98% of the time.
Right, thank
Because
you. So
some
you
of their cases don't even go to court and the person pleads guilty, so that counts as a conviction. You know what I mean?
right, so you could have, so Dr. AG, you could be charged for 100 counts, and if they get you on one, that could be part of their 98% conviction.
Yes, yes.
Look at that.
Okay, you guys. Pardon me for interrupting. We got updates. We got updates. We got updates. So, I'm just going back real quick. One second. Okay. Oh wait. So an hour ago, Inner City Press says there's going to be a bail hearing, and one way or the other, a sentencing down the road, maybe an appeal of the Mann Act convictions. Working on week 8 book right now. All right. So then 1 hour ago, he writes. Oh, he was talking about being locked in. Never mind on that. Okay. So as of 30 minutes ago. Update: Sean Combs' lawyer's 6-page letter asking for release today on bail has just been docketed. The U.S. Attorney's Office letter is not in the docket as of 1:33 p.m. Did he? All right. So here's the letter, you guys. It is via email to Judge Supermanian. And it says, "Dear Judge Supermanian, Mr. Combs moves for release on appropriate conditions pursuant to 18 U.S.C. Pending his sentencing proceeding. Given the jury's clear verdict acquitting Mr. Combs of the RICO conspiracy and sex trafficking counts, continued detention of Mr. Combs is inappropriate. As these proceedings have demonstrated, and as we told the court from the outset of this case, Mr. Combs came to New York to surrender in order to defend against the government's charges because he was, quote, committed to showing his innocence. Since his arrest and detention on September 17, 2024, Mr. Combs has obeyed the court, respected these proceedings, and demonstrated model behavior at the MDC. And that's the Department of Corrections. And today, the jury unambiguously rejected the government's allegations that Mr. Combs ran a years-long criminal enterprise or engaged in sex trafficking, the core of the government's case. Mr. Combs stands convicted of 2 Mann Act counts, and his sentencing exposure is substantially lower than when the government initially sought detention. The court should release Mr. Combs on the proposed conditions." So that was 30 minutes ago, and then...
Dr. Goddess, what section of 18 are they?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I did skip over it because there were so many numbers. But it was section 18 USC, and it says it's 3143, parentheses A, and then parentheses 1.
Okay.
All right. So then 24 minutes ago, it says, Diddy docket, after Sean Combs found not guilty of RICO and sex trafficking convicted on Mann Act, asked for release of bail. 6-page letter. I think that's just him putting more information. He put the full 6-page bail letter on Patreon. 22 minutes ago, there's nothing to report right now. Both sides' bail letters were due at 1 p.m. Combs' lawyers was docketed at 1:30. The U.S. Attorney's Office letter is still not docketed, waiting to see what time judge holds argument. And 17 minutes ago, update, United States submits letter docu-signed by Deontay Nash. Release equals, quote, message that wealth and influence can shield someone indefinitely from accountability and will also endanger those who cooperate under the subpoena who are already living in fear of retaliation. So here's the letter. Wait 1 second.
So Dr. Goddess, you said B?
So 3143B.
Oh, let me go back. Let me see. Yes, 3143A. And then parentheses L. Or is that an I?
That's an I.
Okay, yeah. All right. So the letter from the United States Attorney is longer. Let me see.
313.
I'm gonna get you, Dr. AT.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying, did they mention what that is in the letter?
Oh, not in the letter. No, but we can look that.
Yeah, it's just
All right.
meaning that it thinks they're gonna be able, there's gonna be a appeal.
You're right. Okay, dear Judge Supermanian, I'm writing to express my grave concern over the prospect of Sean Combs being released from custody. While I appreciate the fairness you have shown throughout this proceeding, I feel compelled to be unequivocal about the danger he poses to the public and to the individuals who have risked everything by coming forward. Mr. Combs has a long, well-documented history of violent, coercive, and retaliatory behavior. Over the years, he has repeatedly escaped meaningful accountability, and each time has only reinforced his sense of impunity. If he is released now, I have no doubt he will see it as yet another license to continue intimidating, threatening, and harming people who challenge or expose him. Many of us have firsthand knowledge of the fear he instills in those around him. I can say without hesitation that he is a serious and immediate threat to victims, witnesses, and the broader community. His pattern of violence, particularly while engaged in the trafficking of individuals for prostitution, combined with unchecked substance abuse, makes it clear that he is not ready to re-enter society safely or responsibly. To release Mr. Combs without substantial consequence would undermine the integrity of this process and send a dangerous message that wealth and influence can shield someone indefinitely from accountability. It will also endanger those who cooperated with this investigation under subpoena, who are already living in fear of retaliation. I urge you in the strongest possible terms to prioritize the safety of victims and witnesses over consideration of leniency. Over any consideration of leniency. Mr. Combs has had countless opportunities to change, and he has chosen instead to escalate his harmful conduct. Allowing him back into the community now would be a profound mistake. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to protecting the public from those who repeatedly demonstrate they are unwilling to respect the law. Respectfully, Deontay Nash. That's the letter.
Yeah, when I saw the verdict earlier, the first thing I thought to myself is, if he can go at any point between now and the next 5 years, he would be smart to sit his ass down before his house, take up some type of hobby, I don't know, trade, get his kids on point, make sure that they're good, and just stay in the background, just never show his face again. If he's smart, he's gonna do that.
So the update from the Inner City Press is that there will be a hearing after the submission of these letters. The judge will be reconvening the parties in court at 5 p.m. So that's when we'll get another update. Continue the discussion about the letters and whether or not he should be released or whatever. Or anything. mean, just from that, I mean, I don't think there's, I don't know what other people think. I don't think there's much to discuss. I mean, it's pretty pro forma. They're just asking that the judge release him on bail. And when they said something about appropriate conditions, that will probably be house arrest, surrender of passport, and probably some sort of monitoring. That's probably what it would count as appropriate conditions or whatever. Yeah, I don't see that there's much to discuss there. I mean, their claim he's facing 20 rather than life, so the chances of him fleeing are lessened. I don't know. But the prosecutor does make a credible challenge that if he is out, he can intimidate. Sentencing hearing, they are going to have impact statements at the sentencing hearing. They are allowed to call other witnesses to testify, to provide evidence to him being a menace. And these testimonies can go to crimes related to what he was accused of, but weren't part of the original case. So in the letter, they said something about he has a year's history of doing something. So they'll have impact statements on that, I'm sure, for the sentencing hearing. So there's a potentiality that he could intimidate those people and thus affect their participation in the sentencing. I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what the judge how the judge comes down on it. Yep, that's right, Johnny's. He out there. He can get them people who got the civil cases. Yeah, he can still be a menace. Yeah, sure. What he has like 80 to 110 civil cases pending right now.
Oh wait, he's beating Trump? God damn.
And it is like, I mean,
150 and astounding.
oh my God. I mean, 80. Like, it's just the thing is that like I agree with like 95% of what is written in the prosecution's letter. The only problem is like the only problem is, look, y'all did not prove your case, okay? Or at least the jury didn't believe that you proved your case. So this person is looking at prostitution charges. And, if, for example, wasn't witness tampering, wasn't that one of the RICO charges? Wasn't that one of the predicates for RICO? Witness tampering. Wasn't that, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if he had gotten one of those, then that would be different. But he was not found guilty of that. Like, you know what I mean? These are things that came out during the trial. So the judge can't just take that and be like, yeah, they're right. Like, you can't punish somebody for stuff that you did not prove. And meanwhile, we know he is a fucking asshole. And I totally agree that he thinks now that he's fucking invincible. Right, but Dr. Goddess, the judge, he can't consider the evidence that was presented in making the hearing. Yeah. Okay. Can't consider because all of that is connected to the charges on which he was found guilty. Right? That he took them across for prostitution, which involves a level of coercion. Both of them testified to that. So the coercion is inside of the charge that he was convicted of. Okay, that's good. And then, like, the other thing is,
I'm wondering when is the sentencing, right? Because if I get like Diddy don't want to go back inside, but like Negro, you ain't gonna be like. I'm just thinking to myself, does he? Maybe he, like so many of the toxic people on this app, think that he's not gonna do any more time. Maybe that's sentencing. Maybe they're saying. Well, let me just ask: do you think that because he thinks, because he knows that his lawyers are going to appeal, and because he thinks that like whatever his sentence is going to be is going to be light, that he should just go home, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like now he's like, yeah, like that dude that was in here, time served. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna be on appeal, and I'm just gonna be out. Like I doubt I'm gonna have to go back to prison. That's what I'm thinking is running through his sick mind.
Yeah, I don't know about that part, but on the question of when the sentencing, I mean, like, well, this case has accelerated. Sorry.
But y'all don't think his money's long enough?
They cutting trees in the neighborhood, so they got those big machines. But everything has been accelerated. So if the judge wants to get done before the 4th of July, he might do sentencing tomorrow. But usually, and they may already have their briefs on deck, their motions on deck for the sentencing recommendation. They may have prepared those already. So somebody in the office is editing out the charges that he wasn't convicted of, and they're tailoring it to the specific convictions. They're probably working on that right now. But normally, each side presents like a formal pleading to the court, and then the court they have like a hearing, the judge asks questions, then the judge goes and reads the pleadings from both sides, and then makes a decision. Usually they schedule the sentencing to give the judge time to do that. And in those pleadings, they'll reference like other cases and stuff. So the judge has to have the clerk like look those up. They determine whether the precedent is relevant. So I don't know. His sentencing could not be for a couple weeks, but they've been speeding up everything. So he could sentence. If they turn in their pleadings today, he could sentence tomorrow. But the sentencing is a process too. It's like a little mini hearing sometimes. So, I don't know. So Quinn said they're probably going to let him go home with conditions. I'm thinking that the judge probably has a general idea as to what he's going to sentence Diddy to. You know what I mean? So, but maybe it's if an appeal is about to go. If I was a prosecutor, not prosecutor, if I was the defense, I would have the appeal on deck immediately. You know what I mean? I would be filing as soon as the judge was like, all right, court's adjourned after the sentencing, I would be filing my appeal. So I get it, but so maybe that's why he's thinking like I may or may not let him go home. Anyway, those are my thoughts. But go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. What has any Diddy supporters, come in doing a victory lap, and also, like, what does a victory look like? He doesn't pay for their side. He doesn't do any jail time because he is convicted of 2 things that could do 10 years each. So, like, what is it that would take where they don't do a victory lap? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Like, how does that work? And then separate question, what does the Venn diagram look like of people who support Trump still and people who support Diddy?
Well, yes, people are taking victory laps. They've been coming in the room. Clubhouse has over 20 rooms on the Diddy trial. Most of them are victory laps. A lot of people are very happy that he didn't get charged with RICO. And a lot of people are also happy that because he didn't get charged with RICO, he won't spend the rest of his life in prison. Some of his greatest offenders feel that he shouldn't spend another day in jail because he's already done full time served. And since so anybody else want to answer in terms of the Venn diagram? Each out there aligned. I mean, isn't this the sign of the times that you could be Trump, you could be Diddy, you could be any of these people, and you're never really going to be held accountable. And Patty, what were you saying earlier? Okay, Quinn, so I get that the RICO was a stretch, but what made it not a stretch for me was the 2 predicates. Because I kind of felt like there were like 3 or 4 predicates that were proven. Like bribery. I just don't understand like that the tape, hiding the tape from, the Cassie meeting in the hotel, that seems so clearly to be bribery for me. Why are you saying like the entire RICO was a stretch? Explain yourself. Oh, and Pierre says anything more than 5 years is not a victory lap. A full sentence would derail his business. Ooh, you're right about that.
Litigation.
And we have business propositions 14.
But he could get out on parole. Let's say they give him 5 years. He could get out on parole early, right? Theoretically.
Yeah. Because, I mean, look, y'all, according to the law, I mean, and this is what is so sad, because Diddy is so slick. He has never been charged with anything. Just think about that. This man has never been charged with anything. Shine went to jail for him, right? Steve Stout, I don't remember what happened.
And Sean went to jail for himself. He's a fool. Sean's a fool.
Yeah, but he was a fool for Diddy.
Yeah, but he went to jail for himself. You weren't manipulated. You did it because he manipulated.
He said that he was manipulated.
Yeah.
And he said he was betrayed.
Well, then you might as well say D-Dot was manipulated because he went to prison for begging. Like, he took the charge.
Like, you didn't think the charge, he lost his case. I think Diddy threw him at the bus is why he lost, but I don't remember, honestly. But he did lose his case. Like, he took it to trial. And I think Diddy won and Shine didn't. Right? But wasn't whatchamacallit charged as well? Diddy?
You know what? I don't remember either, Sin. I have watched Shine's recent interviews.
Yeah.
So, and like I'm a Libra, so I would have to go back in order to make a fair judgment. I would have to go back and look at what's what. But my point about Diddy is that he has gotten away with so much that wait, I think it was a response. Was it a response to Quinn or I don't remember. See, I got thrown off track. It'll come back to me. Brian, right? Brian said he's slick as baby wheel. I know that's right. Oh, okay, all right. So I'm wrong for saying that Diddy was never accused, or no, that he was never charged. But wait, he was accused in civil suits and unproven claims of abuse, coercion. Oh, you're talking about the RICO. Okay, abuse, coercion, and possibly trafficking related. Those actions, though serious, don't automatically imply a police or criminal. Okay. I mean. But it just seemed like the bribery. Okay, so here's the wait. So this is not the question that I'm confused about. Why? Okay, wait. Why isn't there sex trafficking?
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a trying to figure out if they would be brazen enough to say 10 years in jail and then 10 years house arrest. That would be still considered a win. I think that's a possibility. Any thoughts on that?
That's true. I agree with that.
So, when y'all talking about Sean, right? I'm not saying that. So, when Sean actually did shoot, but he was trying to claim it was self-defense. The problem was, it was supposed to be defending Diddy then. But the Diddy at the time, they had witnesses that placed Sean with the weapon, placed Sean with the situation. Sean ass was trying to the documentary coming out later got it, bruh. But your ass still shot the motherfucker. I'm not shit. Let me tell you something. We cool with it. Me and my daughter, I love my baby to death, but I'm not shooting. I'm not gonna be your shooter. We're not gonna get in situations like that. And if I'm in a situation like that, then I gotta pull out my gun. And then I think Diddy paid for his legal defense, and he was saying he was set up because it was Diddy that paid for his legal defense that allowed these people to testify against him. It was a bunch of bullshit. So mentally, I just be like, dummy, why the fuck you shot? That for your career? Did you shoot because that's your homeboy you trying to show out?
That's why back in my club days, I used to see Shine's cousins all the time, and they would always pop bottles in the. They always. You remember that hard top Lexus convertible? I remember they were the first ones to have that. They were always very fly in the club. Like, to me, it was always very obvious that Diddy paid these people off.
Yeah,
But look at Dick.
What about the woman that she charged? Did he have the gun that best shot her? What about?
So I don't know. So regardless of the woman, look at, if you Google that trial, Shine constantly says he was shooting in self-defense. You shot, bruh. Look at the case, y'all. Just look it up. He shot. He shot. There's no doubt that he shot. His argument in court was it was self-defense.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up in a little bit.
And you know what's the worst part? He didn't even have to go to prison. They tried to offer him a plea deal.
Oh dear.
So we can blame Diddy all day for that situation, but that's a Sean problem. He blames Diddy because, like, again, even when you do the Google search, right, it's like, it's a different issue with Diddy, with him and Diddy. It's Diddy paid for my legal defense, so he set me up. Diddy paid people to snitch. Motherfucker, you sat in court and told these motherfuckers you were shooting in self-defense. I don't care who Diddy paid. You should have said I didn't shoot shit.
it's almost like, even though I'm okay. So it's like, I hear what you're saying, Patty, because if Diddy is not a good person. Like, we already know this, and he has no problem throwing Sean under the bus. But if you said you were shooting, and then he found witnesses, you know what I mean, and they were like, like paying for the defense, and the defense is like, well, so what we want to do is, you know what I mean, just like bringing different people in and stuff like that, who were like, yeah, I saw Sean, and he, you know what I mean, like, once you say I shot, like he made it easier to be thrown under the bus by Diddy. I guess that's what
He didn't have no bus to be thrown under if he didn't shoot. Period.
Right, right. And I'm saying, yeah, but there's a bus to throw you under even if you did shoot. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, don't go to the club with me and shoot, because I'm snitching. I'm throwing you under the bus. I hate it for you. I even put money on your commissary, but I promise you, I'll put money on your commissary because you defended me. But at the same time, guess what? I'm still gonna tell. As soon as police come, I'll be like, hey, it wasn't me. Go ahead and wipe my hand. No residue. It was her. And I'll say it while you standing there. It was you. Go ahead and tell it, Dr. Goddess, because I ain't going to prison.
I remember Diddy had done Cochran, right? We all know.
Did he?
He did. He did.
Oh dear.
Hey everybody, I got a quick question. And I'm hoping Dan could also answer this as well too. I'm trying to understand, what does a possible house arrest do for Diddy? What does that basically address differently than having the two sentences? Is it just basically, I know that he got acquitted of heavy trafficking, but is it a way that Diddy's legal team can say, hey, granted we got acquitted for this, to make sure that this doesn't happen, we will agree to house arrest where you can monitor Diddy's home action, so that way it doesn't lead into it. Is it that simple, or is there something more complex that would be addressing? And thanks for any insights you can give.
Yeah, I mean, I just came up with that kind of idea. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I know, like, sentencing, they have options, right? And I've seen it to where they just do consecutive. As soon as you walk out of the court, you go straight to jail. I've seen it to where they give you some like time, and then I see it where they say, okay, you're gonna do, consecutively, but in 10 years in good behavior, you can get out in 5, right? If they can, they can make this very difficult, or they can make this very, very easy. And just to kind of see like a sweet spot, like what would still look like a potential win. And the potential win is him not staying behind bars for 20 years, right? So in that case, that's where I come up with the idea of just, hey, maybe you can do 10. Like I can see a scenario where they say, hey, you have to do 10 for the first count with the potential of getting out in 7 if you have good behavior, and then the rest of the sentence you can serve at home under house arrest. Because I mean, I think just in my memory, just thinking about it, I mean, rich people get that house arrest shit, right? They get that house arrest.
You see him getting max on both counts with no criminal history.
Blackmail, dude. I don't know. Like, do you remember Martha Stewart? She didn't serve her full thing too. She had a house arrest situation.
Yeah, but she didn't get max because she didn't get max sentences. What you're talking about is max on both charges. She had no plea deal.
But she's a white woman.
We're just talking about the charge itself, whether or not, without consideration of what or who he is. I agree with you that we sometimes have to factor that in. But if you're going to say that, then I'm going to say, well, he has money too. So I mean, the bottom line is, so I'm saying to you that you think, and I'm asking rather, that you think he's going to get max sentence on both, but they'll let him serve it in different ways.
Correct.
I think you're a lunatic about one of those things. I don't think you. First of all, I don't think he's going to get max sentence on either one of them.
I don't think so.
Because, and because he doesn't have it. This is what people are not. No matter what you think about Sean or what you think his antics have been in the press, he doesn't have a criminal history, not on paper.
Yeah,
That matters. He has none. So I mean, that's going to factor into this decision. You can rest assured that his defense is going to say, that's going to be one of the first things that they say. He does not have a criminal history. You can't take into account hearsay and things that people have said or his behavior as it pertains to anybody. Even though obviously those things can factor into a judge's decision. I mean, his own personal decision, but in terms of the way he interprets that via the law. It has to be a fair sentence based on his history. And the history only matters on paper. It doesn't matter what you've done that I think that you've done. Because, I mean, the bottom line is just like, Patty M said, he was exonerated of the thing that happened with Shine. He doesn't really have he doesn't have a criminal history that we know of in any real significant way, at least not in this way. So, I mean, that's going to factor into this decision.
I just think that, especially listening to that letter, right, or one of the letters that says, he could be potential menace to society, there's, retaliation, he's already had a history of, violent behavior, although he did not he wasn't convicted of anything, he does have that, that's indicated by the testimony, So, that could play a factor in it, too. But again,
You mean a testimony that led to a not guilty verdict?
Well, okay.
No, that's what I'm just saying. I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm saying, in terms of the way I would present that if I'm defense, the only history that matters is the one that I've been convicted for. The people that you've seen have gotten immediate sentence or been able to configure their sentences have had a criminal past and a history. Yes, those people don't get as much leeway. You've done shit before, but the things that you've seen or you perceive that I've done, that doesn't factor into Kate. That doesn't factor in. And if it does, and if on the off chance it's something that they stand it down, well, I mean, but I'm saying that anything is possible. This is me going with you. This is me saying listen, yeah, he's black. The perception is that he can be violent, he can be retaliatory. Yes, if that happens, then. And the judge makes a decision based on those things, then they'll appeal the decision. They're already going to an appeal. They're already going to file an appeal. Good attorneys are always black. So right now, they're going to file an appeal on this, and now I don't have to work on a RICO case. Now all I got to work on is this prostitution case. So I've dwindled this down to something I can actually work with now. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But I'm saying that in this point, my perception is he's going to do, and I don't really know, I think he's going to do some time off the top of my head. I think he's going to do some time. I don't think that he's going to get the maximum on either one of these. I think he's going to get probably somewhere between the midway and the minimum. So I could see a scenario where he does 2 and 2. Now that I can see. Because the minimum on this is 2 years. That has to be the case. So they have to. So just look at it from the aspect of 4 years minimum. Some ways split up, and they'll say this: if you've done 2 years, we'll give you 2 years on the minimum. We're going to 2 years on both counts. You served 8 months. You got to serve the rest of this 2 years, and then the rest of your 2 years you can do in a conditional home confinement. Now that I can see.
I agree with that. Back into that, I just say I don't see him in there longer than 7 years behind bars. I think,
that's not going to happen. He's not going to do 7 years behind bars. That's not going to happen. I can almost guarantee you, with no criminal history, he ain't going to get that. But I've seen stranger happen. You might be right.
I like that scenario, Quinn, by the way.
I think so too. That's what's off the top of my head.
AI chat thing. So I did the Google one, and it says, I asked Google, what would a mock sentencing calculation for Diddy using the federal guidelines chart, and a breakdown of real cases with similar charges and how much time they got. So what Google said is 3.4 to 4.2 years in federal prison, and offense level 14, aggravating factors, plus 8 points total, use of drugs, abuse of power, influence, multiple victim, obstruction of justice, final offense 22, criminal history category, no priors. The judge has discretion to go above, and it also says they're assuming with 2 counts, 10 years max per count. Aggravating factors would be the use of drugs, abuse of power, multiple victims, obstruction of justice, no prior felony records. Results, offense level 22, giving him a criminal category history of 1 with a clean record. Guideline sentencing range 41 to 51 months, 3.4 to 4.2. And that's them comparing it to what this judge has given in the past when it came to realistic sentence range.
So that's essentially 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, did they say on both counts, like 4 as a
Yeah,
eight?
that was both. It said maybe this is just damn Google AI.
No, I get it, but it's still compiling information though. Based on
it's a mock federal sentencing calculation for Diddy's conviction based off of what this particular judge has done in the past under 18th USC 2421, which is the Mann Act.
Yeah, that's about what I said too. 2 on both. So you got 2 counts, 2 on both.
Yes.
4 years max for 51 months. Yeah. That's around that. 85% of that. And he's got credit for time served too. So that's 8 months out of a 2-year sentence already. 8 out of the 24. You go do the rest, do the other 16, the other 2 at home. If he's got good attorneys and and the judges, not some hard ass. Now, this is from the defense's aspect. If I'm on the prosecution, I want this motherfucker to do 5 apiece on both. I'll meet him halfway.
But this is based off of
Okay, that's making sense. That's making sense.
Yeah.
5 on both.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the judge has the ability to not have to do, well, and it's not typical, but the judge has the ability to do an uneven amount on both sentences, right? I can give you 2 on one and 5 on the other.
Yeah, partially.
That's not normal, but he or she does have the right to do that.
But this is based off his past, but you gotta also remember too, you might look at Diddy as, because this has happened in the past before with judges where they use you as the example.
That is true.
Because this is a highly publicized case. So I asked for a mock based off of this judge and his past cases and what it would look like. That's it.
Yeah, but I agree with that. I mean, you can definitely be the example. That was speaking more to what Dan was saying. Like, listen, you're a black man. I'm gonna use your example. Whatever, however we factor that, into the decision. But the flip side of that, if I'm a defense attorney, I'm like, listen, now you're giving me more ammunition. Why did you give this? I'm gonna start looking over cases. Why did you give evidence? You didn't give
Right. Well, I was gonna be like, look, this is not what he has done before.
Yeah.
Where am I?
Based on what you're saying, Quinn. He could do 5 on one and then 2 on the other. What would be the conditions for him to have 2 different types of different time sentences on pretty much the same charges? Is it the egregiousness of it or the severity of it?
If they were 2 different charges, I would imagine. Listen, you're talking to somebody very admittedly who is not an attorney and by any stretch of the fucking imagination. So I'm only saying this based on what general common sense would say, which is not accurate, by the way, obviously, and it just, makes sense based on past cases. I don't see a scenario where you get
two different times of both. I do think it's possible, though. I don't quote me, but I do think it's possible.
But that would be based off of the harm that was caused to each person.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, say, like with, I think, and it could be two different. And I'm glad you brought that up. It could be two different because if you look at the testimony that was coming from Cassie versus the other witness, it's like they're gonna take. Would he take that into consideration? What her abuse looks like for the years of abuse, the psychological abuse versus the time that she did and the violence that occurred between the two, right? And the drugging and coercion that, like for Cassie, it may be more time given for what occurred to her versus the other.
Yep, agree. That's the only scenario where I can see it be two different. Two different, and listen, that very well may happen. I don't know, we don't know. And that would be hard for a defense to fight against because you could say, listen, he did damage to this woman over this amount of time. This happened to her. This other one, he's still paying her rent, shit, fuck her.
No, victim impact statements that Dr. A.G. brought up. That also influences. I've watched a lot of cases on court TV back in the day when I was a kid. And those impact statements can fucking really change the time.
Yeah.
If you serve.
But again, there's something that both sides of that can do. Like the other one can come and say, listen, I'm not, listen, 7 years, that's okay, if you're going to do 7 years, let him do, because it's all negotiable at this point, but it's really upon the judge to say what he wants to do. So it's like, listen, he'll do the 2 years. Let him do the 2 years because it's all going to run consecutively, I would imagine. So, I mean, is it consecutive or concurrent? I think it's.
I don't think he can do concurrent. I don't think that's even like.
No, I think it's running consecutive. So I think that he can. So at that point, he can say, "Listen, I'll do the 8 months served, do the 16, and then I'll do the 5 on probation. I'll do the 5 from home confinement because I don't have a history. You have to factor that in. I don't have a history of this. I was
so
going
he could do concurrent because of the first-time offender laws.
Yeah, no, he could. No, he
could.
Really? Yeah, no, absolutely.
He doesn't have any other felony convictions, so he could do concurrent.
Tell me that factors into it.
Right. So they can say this is a single ongoing like lifestyle thing, right? So that would be.
So he could be out next year, basically.
Pretty much. So you know what? I'm glad you brought that shit up, dude, because I was thinking he couldn't do concurrent. But if we're talking about a lifestyle thing, 2 women say they engaged in that lifestyle, and they could say this is concurrent. He is a first-time offender.
Yeah.
And both of the crimes are exactly alike, right? Or somewhat exactly alike, with one just having a longer time span. So the judge could look at this as like a single event. So you guys got to take that into consideration as well, too.
Yeah, the prosecution, they wrote in their letter, this is someone facing a maximum of 20 years. They did that on purpose because that's the highest. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the judge being like, this is consecutive and you get the max, which we know is not, that's not going to happen to a first-time offender.
It is not. You can forget the max. That ain't going to happen. Forget max. It's not. Max would be if he's done this before, he's had state charges, he's had, some criminal charges here and there, then he's in some trouble. But a first-time offender, you can take max off the table.
Look at us acting like lawyers and watch a lawyer come in here and say that much about that.
Right.
None of us went to school with this.
I feel safe in my assumption.
Me too.
No, but I was going based off of the prosecution's letter. You know what I mean? That they were saying, hey judge, he's eligible for 20 years max. So,
no, but you did say in the beginning, which I didn't agree with you at first. Mentally, I just stayed on mute because I really don't know because I'm not a lawyer. You did say it could be concurrent. You are right because I'm just listening to everybody talk. It's like, yeah, we said first time offender, and this has happened before. Let me tell you something. My mom used to be a school teacher. Not make us watch History Channel, fucking Court TV, AE Biography, and I used to have to watch Court TV. And child, concurrent is a thing when it's a first-time offender.
Your mother made you watch
Yeah, you know how kids get to come home and watch it.
Patty, can I say this real quick? Because I'm
Go ahead.
Hey everybody. This is too much. No, babe. No, wait until I have to move my car out of handicap.
Hey, wait, Lisa. I got mad at you the other night, and you know I love you.
I love you too. You girl, ain't nobody gonna ever change the way I feel about you. I don't even remember what the fuck happened. I don't even care. I didn't even go back and listen to it.
Okay, so I'm just making a public apology. I love you, and I love Lisa, and if I cuss her out and she cuss me out, that's between us. That ain't nobody to fucking come up and say.
And Patty's gonna be part of my family pretty soon. She don't know why, but she is. But okay, hold on. Let me do this real quick, because I told them I was moving my car out of handicap. So I was talking, these people think they know everything. I'm working with all men today. I'm so fucking tired. I want to go home so bad, because they're just in here fucking celebrating. But I told them, I said, listen, yes, it's a first time, right? But the victim statements, like you just said, Patty, are way heavy. This judge is not gonna have no sympathy. You guys think this judge is gonna have sympathy for sentencing on him? All of the proving that he said somebody's car on fire, the shit that he was dragging women around. I mean, all that shit has been proven. The judge is not gonna have. He gonna do what he gotta do. He gonna follow the guidelines. So I don't even know if they're mandatory sentencing guidelines for this. I don't know. But these fucking doctors in here are all saying, "Oh, he gonna get times." There's no way in the fucking world. I think the judge is gonna give him what he needs to have and get him off the streets. Cause I read up on this judge. He's a cool dude, but he ain't no sucker. So that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys in about an hour. I'm flying my ass.
Patty just did a
synopsis. I did a mock based off of this judge's past. So I'll tell you exactly what the question is. I gotta go back home. I gotta go backwards in my head.
That was a good question too. Like it was well constructed to get a good answer. Yeah, chat. Whatever that meant. Listen, I ain't no AI user, so I gotta get used to that.
But thanks for bringing that looking into the judge, Lisa, because I've never looked at the judge.
So the question I asked was based on a mock federal sentencing calculation for Diddy's conviction under 18th U.S.C. Mann Act 2421. What would be the likely sentencing range based off of the judge that is currently hearing Diddy's sentencing? Period. That was it, right? And then what came up was the estimated guideline range, 3.4 to 4.2 years in federal prison. It's based off of similar cases that he has seen and cases that he's seen overall. They said base level offense 14, aggravating factors plus 8 total, use of drugs, abuse of power, multiple victims, obstruction of justice, which gives him a final offense level of 22. Criminal history category 1, which means he has no priors. The judge's discretion based off of what he's done in previous cases, a breakdown of the hypothetical sentence, federal sentencing guideline estimates, 2 counts, 10 years max, aggravating factors, no prior felony, which results in offense level 22, criminal history category 1, which we all said no prior offenses. Guideline sentencing range would be, and this is under this judge from his past sentencing, 41 to 51 months, which is 3.4 to 4.2 years in federal prison. This particular judge, a mock question of what the Mann Act would look like for him. Now, the only thing, if he does go above that, that means he's not using what his usual sentencing was in previous court cases. So if he does go above that, in my mind, it's because Diddy is a public figure and he may be using him as an example. Like, don't fuck with women.
And also, Patty, just like what Dr. A.G. said, he did hear a whole lot of fucking evidence that even though the jury has not found him guilty, could lead to why he could be a danger to the public.
has also seen previous cases. So I put the Mann Act specifically because that what those charges were based off of the Mann Act.
Yeah.
So those charges were Mann Act. So obviously he's had cases before where men. I mean, it's New York City, and Mel will tell you there's a lot of fucking men in New York City that beat the shit out of their women and do shit that's crazy. Like we were talking earlier, the shit that we've seen in newspapers growing up as a kid, the shit that we see that's being advertised. And
I just sent one to Dr. Goddess that happened yesterday.
Yeah, New York is a fucking whole nother animal. Like, so like.
But like if the like so the
This
like
ain't
the
his
Mann
first
Act-
Mann Act case.
Right. No, this makes sense. But like, just think about what he just heard. Right. That didn't get that the jury did not find him guilty on. But like, in the back of his mind, he knows good and well. Well, he knows just based off of the testimony that Diddy did go into Kid Cudi's house. You know what I mean? And
You know what, Dr. Goddess? Let me tell you, it's crazy, and a lot of people don't realize this until they see a documentary of a big-time dope dealer. In New York, a lot of these people are from another country. And, you know, like, the little articles that's hidden in the newspaper is stuff like torture, like a woman being found in a home that was tortured, beaten, a woman abused, sexually abused. You know, when I was a kid, I was babysitting. My babysitter was this Puerto Rican girl. Mother. The girl lives in Miami now. Her father was a fucking pimp. He killed the mom. The shit that was going on in that house that I had no clue because I was a little kid, but after the fact, right, with the little girl, she's my age now and she's in Miami. But the stuff that was going on in that house, when we found out after, and this was our neighbor, like this is shit, like, and in some countries this shit is acceptable. You know, my dad had a friend that was talking to him. My dad brought this shit up a while ago. Like, he had a friend that he was really close to that was saying, like, his wife was telling my mom that her husband don't love her no more because he doesn't beat her and shit like that. And my dad was talking to him about this shit. He was like, I don't want to go to jail. It's the United States. Like, this is like, New York has some torture shit that go on. If y'all even know how the drug torture go, it's not like down south where you shoot a motherfucker. Like, in New York, they will fucking slice you with a machete. Y'all remember, like, some of these people that's been deported that were big-time dope dealers, they were fucking torturing people. Like, the shit that happens in New York when it comes to torture, like, I can believe he's seen Mann Act cases that's just been as fucking crazy.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting.
So it's based on my Google Scholar search here. I've got it says that during judges do they can and from what I said they do base their sentences on their perception of a defendant's behavior and history, but it's within the defined legal boundaries. So like if they use pre-sentencing reports like your criminal history, obviously, character assessments, your conduct during the case, cooperation, your attitude, remorse, and statements from victims if they're applicable, and any aggravating or mitigating factors. That's what it says. But that perception refers to those sources, so it's structured. It's not arbitrary, if that makes any sense. They take into consideration the offense level, the criminal history, and adjustments for things like obstruction, I would say obstruction, acceptance of responsibility, or your leadership role. So they can go upward, or they can go upward or downward, according to Google Scholar.
I be using the hell out of that Google.
Oh, I would Google Scholar the hell out of some. I don't even use regular Google.
Somebody go ahead and tell me they pay $200 a month for ChatGPT. Y'all can kiss my ass.
Yeah, why? What for?
I get my hair done. I get my hair done every week. Not losing a week of hairdo for a fucking ChatGPT. I'll kiss my ass. And they got Gronk on freaking X. That's why sometimes like I looked on Gronk. Y'all heard me before say I looked at Gronk because sometimes I look at freaking Google and be like, that doesn't make sense. And I try to match it to Gronk. And I'm like, yo, I looked on Google. That's why I tell y'all, I looked on Google. Look on Google.
I ain't
talking about just the article.
And don't they have their own built-in AI in some way too?
Yeah, that's why I be looking on Google. You can use the Google AI.
Because the scholar comes up with that AI thing in the middle. I mean, I think it's AI, but yeah, the thing that's right now, the middle before they actually give you the resources.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's wrong on X?
They were supposed to come back at 1 o'clock, but the prosecution wasn't ready with their letter, so they'll be back at 5.
That'll look good.
Yeah,
Well, they're trying to handle the bail hearing because tomorrow court is closed, Friday court is closed, Saturday, Sunday. That's why they're trying to handle it now.
They mailed it. Prosecution
But
did.
you know, whether he's behind prison or if he is released, the thing with Diddy's not like me or you. Diddy has money that's long. So his long ass money can influence anything.
Yeah, please don't think that don't reach a place that you can't even. Telling you.
We broke, so we gotta be released to let shit happen. Whether he's like, that's why I'm like, fear is gonna be fear for these people. Whether he's locked up or he's, until they actually give him a sense of thing.
Well, there'll be no submission of his funds, so he's gonna still be rich, no matter what the sentence comes down, because there's no recount.
Yeah.
So he will have money. So he's still rich.
Right.
And you know what? I agree. I agree with the whatever sentence I read from somebody. I forget who it was, but that was money well spent on his defense. You know what I mean? Because with no RICO, you got all the rest of your money, really.
Yeah, but that's why it's a win. So it's a win for the defense because their client is not going to do life.
I agree.
They're not going to have their assets or their money seized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That it was good. It was good for him. What was it? Maybe 15 million.
15 million,
which is nothing.
Right, because you know what his current worth is right now, as of today, and I just did a Google. He is worth $400 million.
And
that's with all his partnerships. This is with losing his partnership with Ciroc. This is with his legal costs, and that's with 60 cases pending. He is still worth $400 million. So whether he's locked in his mansion for 24/7, fucking getting counseling, being fucking monitored, his ass got $400 million to reach out and touch somebody.
And he will listen. Being remanded to your house doesn't mean that you can't go anywhere. It just means that there's only specific places, depending on the condition, that you can't.
Yeah, the condition that they're asking for is to go to Florida, New York, and LA.
No.
So that's what the defense is asking for. I'm saying. No, that's what the defense put in their letter. I'm serious.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. I think they're stretching there.
Yeah, they're stretching.
I wouldn't even do that.
I wouldn't. You know what? Honestly, I think if they did say they're gonna release him, they'll probably release him to his New York State or Jersey mansion. That way they can reach out and touch his ass. But not. I don't know about him being able to travel.
Well, he's asking to be. He wants to go back to his Star Island home.
Yeah.
But he wants to be able to travel to the other two locations, which is LA and New York.
I think they'll give him one, and that's when your ass gonna be.
I agree.
That's what I would do. Now that's my novice opinion, but you're not gonna be traveling, cut the games.
Yeah, he's getting access to Instacart. He's getting access to Instacart and Uber.
Yeah, real talk, for real.
How you gonna be? I mean, how you gonna be adamant with traveling? Is that one step too far?
I mean, but that's just. I mean, come on.
But he wants to do a free course in LA. There's women and he wants to have fun.
Yeah, we gotta let it. Listen, if he's gonna enact,
it's July 4th, guys. Come on.
And you can't have no visitors either.
Twin, have you heard Mel's business plan for Diddy?
What's the business
Mel,
I told you. He open up a brothel, and then he should open up like 3 swinger locations in Florida, Houston, and LA, Miami, to be exact.
And then
And he should also, it'll be bad boys porn. And he should also be able to mold his penis and sell dildos, and have a toy line.
What I would do if I was
Because you know what, he could have been, you know what, where's my point? He could have been comfortable doing all this shit he was doing legally. If he would have just went on ahead and just not been trying to keep it a secret. He could have did all this shit. You live in Atlanta. They do this shit in Atlanta. Ain't nobody going to
Listen,
prison.
there is regular people that do this shit. I don't want y'all to be confused.
I know, I told him that.
There's you can go to them places, that we have a place where you can do that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
they got a club.
Yeah, exactly. Club. And regular nights in this motherfucker. Yo, listen, I've been asked to go to one of them. I'm not even going to fucking watch. I don't even want to.
You talking about Jackie?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm not going to that shit. Like, I'm not going to it because I just don't. I mean, it just ain't my cup of tea. That ain't my interest. But I know that there's people I know who do go to that shit.
Brooklyn says she goes. She does that.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I never want to run into Brooklyn.
She rewatches, she said. But no, so we were talking about that because we were talking about Diddy versus Prince, and we were saying that like Prince did all of this stuff, but I don't think that. No.
It's a known thing that his house used to have pages. They would have sex parties, sex orgies. Drug was involved, but guess what? He did it to have fun, just like they do at trapeze, right?
Word, and that's perfectly fine. Now, I've been in his house in Chanhassen before, but I mean, you know, now it's a museum of some sort. But I mean, there's parts where they won't show you. But I mean, I can tell you, there's probably a lot of places in that house where he could have done that. No question about it. But I don't know that to be the case. I can't say that with any degree of certainty.
But I don't think that with Diddy, it was just about keeping a secret. I think he's really, really sick in the head. And for him, it is about domination and control.
But
right?
he
It's
said
like,
that's done too. Don't you guys know there's these women that love abuse. That's their sexual fetish. He could have did that legally. That's their love language.
No, but that's true. But I was saying, but if they're doing it willingly, that's not what Diddy wants.
Yeah, he doesn't want them to be willing.
Which one is that?
Yeah.
But the prostitutes were willing, right?
This is about control. It's not about.
There's no power flex in that. He wants to be the first one to give them drugs. He wants to be the first to have them addicted to drugs and then introduce them to this. He wants that whole experience.
And that's the difference between what I was saying. What makes Diddy different from this like the Prince is that Prince seemed to be somebody that really, really loved having his people like reach ecstasy. You know what I mean? And like really enjoy themselves. That's not what was described in the Freak Off.
Well, I mean, if he was doing it, do you think anybody? Do you hear anybody talking shit about it?
No.
Mr. Prince in the chat said BDSM is not abuse, guys.
It isn't.
But it's not. But that's not what he was doing. That's what it's not. That's the point. Diddy is not somebody that wanted to do BDSM. Like they weren't getting like I never heard like in the freak offs, right? That nobody described beating anybody, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. It's what Mel said. He wants a type of domination and control that is like next level. It's not BDSM. Because you have to agree to it. You agree to dominate it, or you agree to be the submissive one. He don't want no agreement.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I had to look up what BDSM meant.
Oh no.
Straight up.
Look, this one where I get algorithm messed up, so don't just
he's the T on another level.
Your algorithm will go to different places and you might not want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I know what those things are, but I never know that as an actor.
Look at what
Look at the chat.
Oh yeah, somebody down there streaming. person streaming. That's what they're saying. Well, I don't consent to being that.
Hey, yo, it's been a minute.
Whoever the dickhead is.
Wait, put the song, somebody, put a copyrighted song.
Put a song. Oh, I want to say hi to somebody. There's somebody in the goo. I can't really see. I forgot. I know you. Hold on, because my eyes are dilated. That guy with the red hat at the bottom. What's his name?
Dr. Mister? Is that who you talking about?
John Kidman is the star. Hey, Dr. Mister, where you been? Last time we spoke, you was putting cheese on your spaghettis, but it was like slices of cheese. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna pray for you. I don't forget nothing. That was like 2 years ago. And that was the last time you was on this app. You was putting slices of cheese on your pasta.
That's disgusting.
What's going on?
Hey, how are you?
What's going on? I still put slices of cheese on my spaghetti. I still do.
God, are you serious?
No, I just wanted to say hi. Long time no see.
Long time no see, man. I'm over here listening to what y'all saying. This Diddy stuff crazy, but yeah. I still do the spaghetti and sliced cheese every now and then.
Wow.
He said, wow.
Yeah, that's...
There's things from a long time ago that I don't forget, stuff like that. But shit from 5 minutes ago, don't ask me because I don't remember.
I am dying. Wait, so Mr. Prince, you said Diddy wouldn't be welcomed in the BDSM community. He would be blacklisted. Please explain yourself.
Yeah, so like say for instance, when it comes to a lot of the venues that we attend for these parties, for example, have these kink activities. Like a lot of times alcohol is not allowed, a lot of times drugs are not allowed. And if you are perceived to be high or inebriated, under the influence, you'll get asked to leave. You'll get removed. And when it comes to like, I won't say all, but definitely some swinger venues are the same way when it comes to that. They may have BYOB, but they are still watching to make sure that you are, still have all your faculties and stuff like that. Like you said, this when it comes to BDSM and kink, it's something that you have to consent to without coercion. I want to stress that, without coercion, any of that. And then of course, if you are under the influence, a lot of people won't fuck with you because, like, you can't really give consent right now because you high, you fucked up, you out the brain. So no.
Yeah, but you can hire one, right?
What'd you say again?
You can hire someone that's into all that, right? I know. That's what I was bringing up when I told Mel. You remember when you was a kid and the wanted ads, it'd be like they'll have like these people that actually sell off their services as doing the meat.
And I want them, but I have that in any type of request form that I have people to fill out. Like I let them know you're not supposed to be high. You're not going to be drinking before a scene that we do or a session that we do. Because I'm not fucking with that. Like I don't want that risk on me. Like I'm already having to weigh a lot of risk with meeting a stranger, paid or not. Even if I am the one beating ass or having them on their knees crawling on the floor or whatever, it's still a risk for me. And I don't want you high and drunk.
Prince said he ain't gonna be on Diddy's service.
Period.
Prince, there are at least a couple of people in here that have been very, very bad girls. What can we do?
Not me. I'm good. I don't want nobody to say me is gonna be on like Donkey Kong. Don't be hitting. I'm old school. I don't want to see no whips and chains. I see any of that, I'm walking out. I might call the police. Dr. Goddess, what did you tell Patty?
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that from Dr. Goddess. But okay.
Oh my God.
I didn't even get to hear her. What she said? I said I'm not coming. If I come to your house, and I see with the chains. I might be calling the police. I'm scared. Ain't no BDSM happening over here.
I don't want nothing with letters. I'm good.
I'm just dying. Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
You missed the whole thing. So I was like,
She said some of us are getting bad girls. That said, I've been good. I don't know.
Wait, I mean, look, it wasn't even 2 seconds later, and Patty was like, not me, don't come.
Let me tell you, I'm a victim of DV. You do any fuck shit to me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, then I'm gonna call the cops.
That part.
Oh,
I'm
my
scared.
God. I remember when I found out that there was a, let me see, first, what did I find out first? I think I heard about, I mean, I guess technically it's BDSM, but what I heard about were like, it was like the white community that they were like deep into spanking. It was something like religious, you know what I mean? Like they really believed that like, you know, a woman is like a child and, you know, she needs to be punished and stuff like that, right? So then I discovered, somebody pointed me to a black group that was like, yeah, kind of more openly. What is it called? You know what it's called? Yeah,
Well, say for instance, you could be either talking about domestic discipline or taking it.
Yes. It was domestic discipline. It was
Gotcha.
it was
Yeah, that's
black
that's
domestic discipline, and I was like, y'all are crazy as hell.
That's more religion-based foundation, and then also a bit,
Yeah,
a bit of 1950s. It like dives further into the gender roles in that particular instance, stuff like that. So like if in this case, if the wife doesn't do the chores or take care of the household or procrastinates on doing stuff, the guy may actually put her over his knee and spank her, or you know, paddle her, or whatever the case may be. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Y'all
are doing too much.
That they were doing way too much. I was in the group like as an observer, and I was crying. Like I mean, like I was like, they're